Welcome everyone. Welcome to the second week of the Weirdo pool party. Um, I'm back on the stateside, back in Colombia. I've been quite jet lagged still. So just telling Dave, come 9:30, I may pass out on the call. We'll see. Maybe with the wine being my fuel, maybe I'll be better, but we'll see. We shall see. And of course, all. Um, but anyways, welcome to the second week of the Weirdo Pool Party Box. And we are tasting this guy right here. It's a liter bottle because sometimes 750 just ain't enough. 2023 Famille Bauer Hollotrio Orange Gruner is what we're tasting today. Gruner Veltliner. I don't really have a whole lot of announcements, except it's the last call on Case Club. I'm closing it at noon tomorrow. So if you are planning on participating in the Case Club, I suggest that you get your orders in now. But yeah, get that all in so I can get that all squared away. But that's about it. I don't really have any other announcement. Besides, as you all know, 6 Foot Wine Club is committed to donating 1% of its gross revenue to an organization which stands aligns with its values. And this month I have chosen Food Rescue US. So if you want to learn more about what they do or donate alongside 6 Foot Wine Club, the link is right there. I mean, I don't know if you would have any questions about anything, but any questions about any of that? Case Club or whatnot?
Just wondering, have we ever had an orange Gruner before?
So Sut Moser, the Gruner that we featured before, it is much louder skin contact than this. It's had like maybe just a touch of skin contact, like a few hours, but not like this one.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Because you're just joining us now, we're tasting this guy. The liter bottle of 2023 Famille Bauer Hollotrio Orange Gruner Veltliner is what we're tasting today. All right. So the map. Here you go. Here's a map of Austria. In case you're not familiar with where Austria is, it's kind of like a center of Central Europe. It kind of connects all of them. So to northwest, you have Germany, right here, Switzerland to the west, Italy to the south, and then to the east, you get all those Central European countries that everybody's familiar with: Czech, Slovakia, Hungary. It's all right here on the east, and then we got on the south is flanked by Slovenia. So it kind of butts against a lot of different countries, but it is kind of the crown jewel of Central Europe, I should say. As we've had Austrian wines quite a bit on this wine club, and if you guys all remember, and if you are joining us, or if you haven't had Austrian wine with us, there was a whole scandal that we talked about, which is the coolant glycol scandal of Austria. So in 1980s, so Austria for the longest time, I mean, they've been making wine there for a long time, right? But since the modernization and once it turned into kind of industrial kind of farming, it kind of fell under the bad spell of almost every other country, which is that a lot of the wines kind of the quality went down, and there's a lot of kind of mass-produced wine. And to kind of pump up some of that really light, thin body in Austria, they started. I mean, obviously, there's only very few actors, but as the saying goes, it's a few bad apples that ruin the whole basket. I think that's all to that effect of the saying. I'm terrible with the sayings, but yeah. So a few producers were caught with diluting their wines with or adding glycol to their wines, which is a substance that's found in coolant, antifreeze. to basically stop it from freezing. Just to kind of give body some body, just give wine some body because the wine has become so thin in Austria. And anyways, a lot of that, pretty much the entire country of Austria was indicted because of our wine industry was indicted because of it. The global kind of reputation of the country completely fell apart. But since then, it's been quite a bit of a miracle. I mean, it's a lot of give them a lot of credit for it. The Austria, the country, the government has put a lot of emphasis on restriction, quality control, and has really made a return, a comeback on its quality, and it now is squarely and fairly known as one of the most fine wine producing countries in all of Europe, if not all in all of the world, particularly the white wines. So, but this is in fact, the kind of a lot of appellations have their own laws and wine laws restricting yield and a production method to guarantee quality. But Austria is known to have some of the most strict kind of regulations around that. Just kind of turn their image around from once a glycol coolant diluting country to a fine producing country. So now when it comes out to Austrian wine, obviously it ranges all the way from kind of everyday commodity wine, but all the way up to very much of a high, some of the most age-worthy kind of white wines known around the world. And a lot of that comes from where the right here in the northeastern part of Austria. And as you can see, most of the wine is made on the western and the central part of Austria as well. But really, a lot of wine production is concentrated on the eastern part. But really, the quality and the most significant in terms of the quality as well as quantity is right here on the northeastern part, called Niederösterreich. By the way, these Austrian words are very hard to pronounce, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher a lot of pronunciation today. But yeah, this is what we're talking about. And today's wine also comes from this region, and we're in Wagram, which is this area right here. This is the mighty Danube River that runs through Austria and runs through Central Europe. And then, as you can see, and its tributaries are essentially where the most well-known wine regions are. Particularly, these three regions are of note. If you are into Austrian wine, you probably have heard of them or you've had them before. But Kamptal, Kremstal, and Wachau, or Wachau, is essentially the creme of the creme, the top producing regions, the top quality producing regions of Austria. Particularly Wachau here is really known for its Gruner Veltliner as well as Riesling. But as you can see, it's all off of Danube River. It's essentially what we're talking about. The wine here, the one we're drinking today, if you look at the front label, right underneath Gruner Veltliner, it says Österreich. That just means Austria in German. So the kind of label classification for this wine is essentially land wine. This can come from anywhere within Austria. However, the fruit for this thing comes from a very small part. It's all estate fruit, but it all comes from Wagram right here. So you may be wondering, why don't they call it Wagram? Why don't they call it Niederösterreich? Why don't they go with the smaller appellation, probably get better pricing for it than calling it a general Austria-wide land wine? Is because what Dave was talking about earlier, this level of skin contact orange Gruner Veltliner is not allowed in the law or the general style of what they allow in the appellation or DAC system in Austria. So the tasting panel essentially said, this is not a typical Gruner Veltliner. It's not what we're known for. So therefore, you cannot put down these kind of DAC or appellation names on the labels. And again, these folks didn't really care about that. They like the wines that they make, so they went for it. So in case you're wondering why it wasn't Wagram or it wasn't Niederösterreich, it's because, again, this style of wine is not allowed in the DAC system. Essentially where we are. In general, we're talking about Austria. We're talking about very much of a continental climate. As you can see here, it's on the 40th parallel, which is pretty far north. I mean, it's on the same level as you can see, Everett, Washington, Quebec, Dijon in France, as well as Vienna. It's all right on the pretty far north. So it gets quite cold here in the wintertime. But what makes the viticulture here possible or appealing is essentially there's a Polonian plain here on the southeastern side, and then it blows really hot air through from the south going up to the north, going west. So if you look at it, from here, this is really a white region, a white wine country, right? Gruner, Veltliner, and Riesling. Same thing here in Styria. On the south, it's a lot of white wine, a lot of Sauvignon Blanc, and different things that are being made here. But only one region really that's really known for their red wine is right here in Burgenland. And this is exactly where that hot air kind of blows through and it comes up. So imagine here, obviously makes sense. This is where the hot air, the Polonian plain, and all the hot air comes in. And then all the Alps and the Alpine and the cold air comes down from the north. So this right here, Nieder-Austria, is particularly right around with the moderating effect from the Danube River, is where you find the mixture of that hot air and the cold alpine air. So during the growing season, you get all that kind of warm air, which helps with the ripening, but all that cold air comes down at nighttime, cools down the grapes, and as we know, that diurnal shift is what makes for a incredibly good wines, and that's why here is why the kind of the best, quote unquote, the best wines of Austria are made. But overall, in terms of a climate, there are a lot of different mesoclimates and microclimates because of all these reasons. But really, as a whole, in general, we're talking about this is very inland, Central Europe. So we're talking about a lot of continental climate, really hot in the summertime, really cold in the wintertime. As you go down into the southern part of Austria, because of its proximity to a Mediterranean. There's a lot of kind of Atlantic influence or the oceanic influence that comes in, so a lot more moderation that comes down here. But really, so the warmest part is right here in Burgenland, which makes sense why it grows mostly the red wines here. And then as you go more north and east, you get a lot more cooler climate varieties. So you get a lot more white wines up here. And I found a pretty interesting, I thought it was actually a really good video to show you guys, so I'm going to share that with you. This is actually made by made by the Austrian Wine Authority. The website is quite good. I thought the video was done well, but the website is quite good. So if you want to learn or geek out more about Austrian wines, I highly recommend that you check out that website. But hold up, let's see here. Where did it go? Sorry. There you go. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. We're just gonna watch the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But there's a lot more to this video. If you want to check out more of it, I'll put it in the chat box after we watch it. But yeah, it talks about the history of Austria, some different wines from different parts of Austria. But anyways, this is really about Lower Austria, Nieder-Austria that we're mentioning. They call it lower because it's a lower part of the Danube River. But yeah, there you go.
When people go to Austria, they never think Austria is a wine country. They always think Austria is the sound of music, or is the waltzes in Vienna, or it's the Blue Danube. Yet, to me, the Danube is famous because of the wine. Lower Austria is really one of the great white wine producers in the world.
We are here on a beautiful place in front of the monastery of Göttweig because we have an excellent view on the river Danube. If you come down the river, the valley opens up and the Pannonian influence from the climate comes in.
We have on one hand, of course, the hot Pannonian climate coming from the east, but this meets the cool winds coming from the north. So in terms of climate, I think we are here perfect.
Our wines from Austria, especially Gruner Veltliner and especially Riesling, can compete with any in the world. They have great structure, they have great intensity, and I think great acidity.
You find most of the great Rieslings in Austria grown on primary rock. Why? Because they translate the minerality, and you get that in the flavor of the wine.
We have the terraced vineyards along the Danube and the side rivers of the Danube. They are very dry, they have a very high degree in mineralization. This is the perfect condition for Riesling production.
The first 10 inches, you see, that's the topsoil. Then further down, you can see actually the limestone material. So the roots of the wines have to go really deep down into the ground to get some nutrients, and that results in wines with deep minerality and enormous concentration.
The most important grape here is, of course, Gruner Veltliner, the main grape from Austria.
Gruner Veltliner has so many different layers. It can be from very, very light, peppery, dry, crisp, fresh, but you can also go up to the really high scales. They have the tendency to be really powerful, really concentrated, and they have a richness to it, yet they're still dry.
In the lower parts are löss. The löss came from the glaciers as sand flown.
These vineyards have a much better water supply for the wines. This is the perfect condition for Gruner Veltliner.
So for Riesling we plant on the rock and Gruner Veltliner on the löss soil.
Why is Gruner grown on loess and why is Riesling grown on primary rock? Well, we have to just, I guess, thank the monks for that.
All right. We're gonna stop that there because now it goes into history of monks and different things which are not really relevant to today's wine. But I'm gonna leave the link of that video in the chat box later if you want to go back and watch that some other time. Only if I can do that. Why would it let me? All right, hold up. There you go. All right, so let's talk about who makes this wine. Let me share this picture one more time. Okay. By the way, this is the village that the winery is in. Just so you can see, just a kind of area view of it. Just surrounded by all these different vineyard sites. I'm gonna give you a better shout out, but a lot of these are different plots and different parts of these vineyards are belongs to this winery. So we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, this is kind of area view, which is kind of cool. Anyways, this is them. Bauer family, going from the youngest to the oldest. Here's Joanna, the daughter. This is Lorenz. These are the current generation of the winemakers that are in charge. So Joseph on the left, and Eva Maria, which is Joseph's wife. And these are their kids. And then these are Joseph's parents. So we got Maria Anna and Joseph Sr. Obviously, the kids don't really help, but mom and dad run the winery with the help of their parents. But really, it's Joseph and Eva Maria that are in charge of the winery. Bauer family has been growing grapes since 1704, but they were farming other things as well. But since 1983, the focus has been solely on winemaking. So they've kind of let go of all the other farming activities, and then right now the only thing they do is viticulture and vinification. Joseph took over the state in 2001 from his dad, Joseph Sr., and he immediately started converting vineyards to organic farming, installed gentle press, just kind of chase that higher quality that I was telling you about. And then he started converting olive vineyards to organic farming. But he immediately saw increase in biodiversity in his vineyards, and then realized that he didn't want to farm any other way. Now they farm 17 hectares of certified organic vineyards, currently working on biodynamic certification. They do farm biodynamically, but they don't have certification for that. But they're working on it. And then they grow Gruner Veltliner. There's another cousin of Gruner Veltliner, but very much of a kind of indigenous variety of this region, not even Austria, but this region, Wagram, is a Roter Veltliner. Really kind of fun wine to check out if you ever come across it. But those two are the majority of the wines that they grow, vines that grow, but they also grow Spot Burgunder, which is a Pinot Noir, Zweigelt, Merlot, Blauberger, Riesling, and some others as well. Like I mentioned, I want to show you some other things. They talked about it in the video as well, but this is a loess soil. This is what this wine is grown on, as well as kind of a lot of Niederösterreich wines. Obviously, there are pockets of limestone. There's pockets of different mica schist, and different things. But really, loess is what they're known for. It's kind of a, from what I've studied or what I researched, it's basically like an airborne clay. Like imagine if the clay material and the sand and all those things were kind of became airborne, like it's blown and it's built into a stack by just being blown into it. So it's a very fine kind of grain. It's a kind of a clay but in a geological sense, we're talking about like 20% or less of clay, but with the rest of being like sand and silt. So we're talking about quite a bit of a clay-like material, which obviously holds a lot of water. And as we know, the grapes that are grown on clay tend to give a lot more kind of fruit quality. There's a lot more ripeness and fruit expression just because it retains the heat as well with the clay material, as well as it just without water, it just gives a lot more of the fruit. This is kind of what it looks like. Looks like just very fine sand, as you can tell. Oh yeah, and then this is what I was telling you. So these are these 7 vineyards are plots are all the different vineyard sites that this family owns, Bauer family. And I've never had a picture that was taken like it right around the sunset time like this, but what I was struck by in the next 7 that I'm going to show you is imagine, right, like this winery right here versus this plot right here. You know, it's right next to each other, yet, you know, it's the orientation is different. Also, the sloping is different. So imagine how differently the fruit that comes from this plot versus this plot would taste. And these are the kind of things that like what makes wine fun, right? Like if you are able to taste wine from this plot versus this plot, and also look over here. I mean, if you were to look over on this side, it's kind of a plateau on top with a maximal kind of like a sun exposure. So probably much riper, right? But not a whole lot of a kind of a differentiate, like the temperature difference between beginning of the day as well as the end of the day, as opposed to here, there would probably a lot more shading that happens. So I would expect this to be more less ripe. But so all these different aspects, orientation, sloping angle, as well as geological different formations and different soil types. I mean, the combination of all these things is essentially what makes wine kind of interesting and fun. So this is one of them. Here's another one. Look at all these terraces. Imagine how different the grapes that come from here versus in the middle versus the top would be. And then there is something that's really flat, all kind of different, same orientation, except for this one little plot that runs in a different direction. Right, another flat, but then another really kind of a terraced and of different aspect and different elevations, and as well as different orientation. Here's another one. Like even just now looking at it, I mean, look at the amount of shade that comes in on this part of the plot versus no shade here whatsoever, right? And then obviously there's another flat one there. So anyways, this is not to show like exactly, and there are different soil types in here as well. And if you go to their website, they will actually talk about each one of these different vineyard sites and talk about what's different about them, if you want to know. But I just thought it was kind of interesting and really striking to see, especially pictures taken at this time of the day where you can see the shading across different vineyards, and then just kind of see what that would do to the wine. Anyways, so what is this wine? Let me stop sharing that. What is this wine? This is 100% biodynamically grown Gruner Veltliner. The vine age is about 21 to 32 years of age, so not necessarily super old, but not young either. I mean, 30 years is not nothing. Grown on loess that I was telling you about, that type of clay, all native yeast. I mean, all the things that we talk about in natural wine. So native yeast, spontaneous fermentation. But what makes this interesting, and then again, this is what makes this kind of weird in a pool party box, right? Like Gruner Veltliner is plenty. You can find a Gruner in pretty much any wine store, anywhere you go, right? But this kind of Gruner with this level of skin contact is a very rare thing. Like you don't see this very often. And to me, it has some of the kind of a hallmarks of Gruner Veltliner, which are these kind of spicy notes like a radish, arugula, the kind of like a vegetable notes. But on top of that, with the skin contact, gives this kind of textural component, as well as the different aromatics, which makes it really interesting. And again, you know, with the theme of this month, it's like, to me, this is kind of things that like, if I didn't want to think about it, I would just say, this is a delicious wine and I could just pound it in the poolside. But if you want to sit there and really kind of delve into it, I'm like, holy shit, this is Gruner. Like, I've never had a Gruner like this. Why is it like that? It's all because of the skin contact. So 80% of the grapes are on the skins for 5 hours. They're pressed off and fermented in a temperature-controlled stainless tank. So majority of this wine is a very small amount of skin contact, 5 hours. Dave asked earlier at the beginning whether we've had any kind of skin contact Gruner before. We have, and a lot of Gruner does see very small amount of skin contact, a couple of hours, right? So this one, again, 80%, most of it is just 5 hours, not a whole lot to really make the difference. But the 20% of it is on skins for 30 days. So there's quite a bit of extraction that happens there. Then again, press and then put into temperature controlled stainless steel tank. Then let the whole wines to ferment to completion, to dry. They block the mallow here. So we're going to talk about that when we get to the tasting it, kind of the acid structure and how what difference the mallow makes. And then it's aged for 4 more months in stainless steel. Just let the wines kind of settle and chill and melt. And it's bottled clearly unfiltered, unfined, with a touch of sulfites is what this wine is. Any questions about any of that I just went over before we get to tasting the wine? Cool. Cool. Well, in that case, let's taste the wine. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how the DC's weather's been. It's been really fucking hot here in Colombia, so I'm very, very happy to be drinking this wine. So, all right. Who wants to take the appearance?
I'll do the appearance soon.
All right.
This is hazy.
This is hazy for sure. This wine is definitely not clear.
I would call it pale to medium in terms of color. Maybe a little bit more on the pale side.
Yeah, I would personally call this about medium.
Okay.
To me, there's like pale is to me is like, is there some color here? Not really, kind of deal. But there's definitely color here. I can definitely see the color in this thing. Would you say colors? And again, these things are not, this grid is not really set up for skin contact ones like this. But what would you say the color is?
Okay. I would say this is a lemon gold color.
Yeah, there's some gold hue to it. Like there's definitely some like a yellowish goldish hue I also see like a touch of like a orange kind of a coming in here. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, I would say this is like a lemon gold somewhere in there as well. Any other observations?
I mean, there's definitely a deposit in here. There was quite a bit in my bottle, but it goes with the territory. No pétillant that I could see. No bubbles. So yeah, pretty straightforward.
So, when I first got this bottle, it had been standing up for over a week. So all our things have been settled to the bottom. It actually does become quite clear if you let it settle. I personally like the sediment kind of mixed in. I think it gives a more textural thing and savory kind of thing as well. But if you prefer to have it much clearer than this, you can let the wine just kind of sit and it will settle. Then you can just drink off you can either decant it off or you can just drink the top portion of it. And then you get the much more clear portion. But yeah, to Dave's point, there's definitely some sediment in this glass. And I don't know. I think I see a little signs of bubbles here, just around the edge of the rims. I see like a little tiny little bubbles forming around. So which tells me there's probably some trapped gas in this thing. And I don't know about you guys, but my wine, when I want to go twist it off, it like popped a little bit, like not full pop, but just like made a little popping noise. So yeah.
Yeah, mine definitely had that when I opened it. But
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
So
cool. Excellent. You get to pick the next person for the nose.
I know. I think there's a tag team of Dahans to take on the next one.
Yeah, we were too slow to hit the
color.
The color part. So good call, Dave. All right, cool. Well, it's definitely clean.
Wine is clean. It's very
Yeah.
sound.
I'd say this is like medium plus for me. I could smell it off the glass for sure.
Yeah, I'm like smelling here, which is just like 1 inch. Like high end of medium, lower end of medium plus. My wine is also very cold right now. But yeah, definitely like medium to medium plus right there.
Yeah.
Aromas. Ooh, what do you got?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not getting any floral.
No, I don't
standing
get
out to me.
I don't get any floral, but lots of fruit.
Yeah, for sure. You got our classic lemon, obviously. But I think, orange really stands out for me.
Yeah. I
And I
definitely get
think
some like
all the oranges, orange rind, orange pith, and orange flesh. Like,
I get like tangerine notes on this thing quite a bit.
Yeah.
For sure. I do get a little bit of floral. Like to me, there's like a little bit of like a chamomile kind of a thing. Not the dry chamomile, like the tea chamomile. I don't know if you guys ever smell like fresh chamomile. Like if there's some sort of that kind of fresh chamomile thing going on here.
I mean, you could convince me there's white flower. Like,
there's some sort of flower. It's not super floral, but like there's definitely some like a touch of florality here as well.
White pepper.
Honeysuckle.
Green fruit. Do you get any green fruit?
It was interesting you said about the radishes because I was trying to think like, is it tarragon that I'm smelling? Like there's some herb that I was getting nose that I couldn't quite place. Like
it's all the things that you guys are saying right now, like tarragon, that kind of herbaceous kind of, and then arugula, radish, particularly like the cooler climate Gruner. They all have that, and also that white pepper that fills it is very much of a hallmark of cool climate Gruner. So, and to me, this definitely has that underlying just a tinge of that spicy kind of vegetal character to it. Obviously, it's overlaid on top of all that, like orange, lemon, citrus, and a touch of floral, all of that. But there's definitely a layer of savoriness here, which is cool. But do you get any green fruit on this thing?
I don't.
I don't.
So, no.
Yeah, Not much at all. I mean, you could convince me there's like touch of quince or pear or something, but mostly to me is touch of florality and a lot of the citrus, like lemon, Meyer lemon, preserved lemon, as well as all the orange that you're talking about. Like tangerine speaks out to me, tangerine skin, tangerine pith, tangerine like a flesh, and all of that. Any stone fruit, tropical fruit?
No.
No. Well, maybe some pineapple. You get a little pineapple?
Pineapple?
Yeah, I get a little like a salted pineapple kind of a thing going on here.
Yeah, you
Sure.
could, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get any pear, so like green fruit, that would be that.
Okay.
But I could say like a ripe kiwi, but
yeah. I can definitely see kiwi here.
kiwi more than I
You know
smell
what?
it.
I do smell kiwi here.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think kiwi's an excellent call, actually.
Kiwi, I smell kiwi more than I pineapple.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think kiwi's an excellent call, actually.
Mhm.
Red fruit, black fruit?
No.
Nope. Nature of the fruit? Is this fresh? Is this underripe, overripe, jammy?
Super fresh.
Fresh.
Yeah, super fresh, super ripe. There's different things as here. I guess some like preserved, kind of like salted, kind of a lemon thing going on here. But in general, the fruit is very fresh, very ripe. Yeah, I mean, you already kind of mentioned this, but herbaceous, herbal, spice. You mentioned some white pepper. You mentioned some tarragon. I mentioned some like there's some of that like arugula-y, like a leafy, spicy leafy green kind of a thing going on here. Turnip tops kind of a thing going on. And then any minerality here?
Minerality?
No, I'm not getting any minerality.
Yeah, me neither. It's not hugely like a rocket thing on the nose for me either. But mostly to me, this is kind of what you meant. The little touch of floral, but really a lot of it. I do get a little bit of green, but a lot of it is just citrus. Lemon, orange particularly. I think that kiwi is an excellent call. Maybe salted pineapple, really fresh, really ripe, with a touch of that tarragon / radish, some sort of herbaceous thing going on with a little bit of like a sprinkle of white pepper on top. Any secondary, any tertiary?
I'm not getting any.
Not at all.
Nope.
No, none of it.
Should be very fresh, very primary driven thing. Great. You get to pick the next person for the palette.
Oh my goodness. Are there any volunteers?
Yeah, well, you're below us, so we would pick you normally, but in the screen.
In the screen.
But any volunteers? All right,
Come
Liz.
on, people. Charles, I'm
How
gonna
about Taylor?
pick you, or we can pick Taylor. Are you there?
I can do it.
You can do it, Charles. Thank you.
Hi, Charles.
Yeah, sorry, I'm working on some stuff on the side. Okay. This is dry.
It's dry. A lot of fruit, but definitely dry.
I'll give it medium plus acidity.
Yeah.
Although I'd
got
say
some acid for sure.
It's not I don't know. It's like subtle medium plus.
Yeah.
It's like I think the composition of the acid is not like a, jerking the saliva out of your mouth kind of. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a soft but persistent medium plus acidity.
Well, okay. I'm glad you're mentioning it. We'll come back to this at the end once we're done with everything. But yeah, I totally agree. This is kind of like that high end and medium, low end and medium plus. But if I had to put it on the exam, I'll put this on the medium plus. But we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, noted. Tanner.
I'd give it low. I mean, it's there. It's not very grippy, but it's present.
Exactly. I'll call this a low myself. There's ever so slight grip here. Again, this is that kind of textural component that like that skin contact gives to the wine.
Yep.
It's not
And
just
I'm probably gonna have to like migrate to the kitchen to pour myself more of a different temperature of this same wine in a second. So alcohol, I guess I'd say, low, medium, minus. I know you already, it's like your email, I already read your email and you said low ABV, so I'll call it low.
Yeah.
It doesn't drink as high alcohol.
No, this is
unsurprisingly.
Yeah, I already know what this is, but yeah, I mean, to me, this
I
is
would guess
exactly
about 11.5% because
Yeah.
I looked at the bottle.
exactly.
So
11 and a half. It says 12% on the bottle, but in the text it says 11 and a half. But yeah, I mean, it drinks exactly right there, like the lower kind of ABV range. Body.
give it medium.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now getting more wine. But yeah, I give it medium body. So the reason I said 11.5 is my bottle says 11.5. Does yours say 12?
Mine says 12. Does yours say different?
Yep, mine says 11.5.
What?
What year is
That
your
is
wine?
wild. That's hilarious.
What year is your wine?
Where is the vintage on this thing?
It's on the back underneath the Savio Suarez Hollotrio. Like,
Mine doesn't have a vintage either.
Yeah, mine doesn't have a vintage.
Mine doesn't have a vintage, but mine says 12.
That is what? What?
What wine are we drinking?
The 2023?
Yeah.
Famille Bauer Hollotrio. It should be 2023.
It is. Mine says Gruner Veltliner 2023, 11.5% alcohol.
That's what ours says too.
That's funny.
So the funny thing is, I was like, man, I guess my nose might be a little off tonight. Like, I'm not getting quite the same stuff, but they didn't even label it the same, so who knows if it's the same wine.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's the same wine, but I think they either probably ran out of the back labels. I don't know.
Question is how much antifreeze
probably
is
a label.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly right. It's probably a label issue, I would guess, rather than a wine issue, because it's a hell of a lot easier to make a new label than make two different wines. So, but anyway, mine says 11.5% for sure.
Okay. I mean, everything that I've gotten from the texture and everything is 11 and a half. But mine says 12, but I don't know. Maybe I will ask. Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Okay.
There's no mousse, no bubbles. It's not even. I mean, I don't know. Mine doesn't even have any real like crunchiness to it, like no dissolved CO2 or anything like that.
Yep. By the way, before you go there, I just wanted to touch one more thing. The medium body, a lot of that is also from the skin contact as well. Yeah, that's what gives it the body, textural component, and all of that. All right, flavor intensity. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we move on to the mousse, I'm not going to go as far as calling this delicate or even making it like calling a mousse thing, but there's definitely trapped CO2.
You think so?
Trapped gas in my wine.
Mine doesn't seem to have it.
I mean, it's just like a prickly on the tongue. It's not like even sparkling, but I just definitely there's a touch of trapped gas for sure. Does yours have
flavor intensity? I'd probably call it medium, but if I were being generous, I could say medium plus. It's probably like the high end of medium for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think this is, I mean, just like on the nose, it's about that, like right between medium to medium plus, high end of medium, low end of medium plus is what I got from this thing. All right. Do you confirm everything that Dahans have called out? Is there anything else that stick up to you?
Well, as I said, I didn't disagree with anything they said, but I didn't get all of that. So, I mean, I felt like there was, like, to me, it was definitely citrusy. I felt like there was something in there, like almost like kind of a gooseberry type of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get some green fruit on there. Maybe it's quince, but someplace, you know, there's kind of like a little bit of a puckery green fruit type of thing going on for me. Lots of citrus.
Yep.
Like there's the character of the citrus fruit is like a salted, preserved citrus fruit. Like there's some minerality with the citrus for me, like salted lemon. On the nose, when I first opened it, I was getting maybe a little bit more, but like a little bit of like grapefruit. But not really so much on the palate. Yeah, there's like orange, lemon, lots of citrus, all the parts of the citrus. It's like kind of a complete soup to nuts citrus situation going on. Not particularly any stone fruit. There's like a tropical thing in there somewhere, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
Yeah, to me, that kiwi call I thought was particularly great, but like not even that green kiwi, but like the golden kiwi.
Yeah.
I think that was a particularly really good call.
Yeah, that could be it. So that's it. And then whenever there's like tannin in a white wine, or like even hint of tannin, I get definitely like a little bit of a kind of like very delicate black tea type of thing going on, like a little bit astringent. And I get that here. I'm not getting, I don't think I'm getting a lot herbal. But there's something a little herbaceous, sort of like I mean, there's like a Pirozzini type of note here for sure. I guess I'd give it, gosh, I don't really know. It's not any of the things on the grid. I guess I'd say maybe like almost like hay instead of grass. Like it's not quite as green as grass, but maybe like a hay type of thing. There might be something herbal, but I don't know. I get white pepper, something a little spicy, and then there's a ton of minerality, a ton of saltiness, a ton of sort of stuff like wet rock type of stuff going on for me. So which I love. So
yeah, to me, on the nose I didn't get a whole lot of minerality, but on the palate I'm getting a ton of that kind of like there's saltiness to this wine.
Yeah, it is like briny.
Yeah, there's a lot of like a salt running through here behind all of that kind of citrus fruit that like everybody, we are all agreeing there's a ton of citrus in this thing, which is exactly what you expect from Gruner, but particularly with the skin contact, and now you're seeing introduction of that like tangerine, orange kind of a thing going on here. Maybe some of the grapefruit that you're talking about, the golden kiwi thing, the chamomile, the tea. I feel the same way almost with any skin contact whites that I oftentimes get a little bit of like a dry hay or like a tea kind of a thing. There's definitely that. And to me, this is more of like a chamomile kind of a situation here. But and all that briny kind of a salty minerality running through the whole thing. Do you get any secondary or tertiary?
There's like maybe a hint of sort of like I don't know. There's like some, some sort of mallow, but it's not buttery. It's maybe more like just there's like a savoriness to it, but honestly, it's not anything that I really think is secondary.
Yeah.
It's probably like primary fruit that's kind of savory.
Yeah.
So I'd say not really. No tertiary.
Yeah, this is as squeaky clean as it gets, right? Like this is all stainless steel, temperature control, mallow block. We're talking about very much of a primary driven. And part of the reason why this can, even as a skin contact with the minimal sulfites, can be this kind of clean and stable is because of all of that like squeak clean winemaking, like stainless steel, mallow blocking, and all of that. Finish. How long is the left?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Same place. Low end of medium plus high end of medium.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd probably give it. I'd give it a medium, but say it's a nice long medium.
Yeah, it's same thing with the intensities, right in that medium, somewhere between medium and medium plus. Perhaps with once this warms up a little or opens up a bit, maybe I'll get it to medium plus. But right now, yeah, exactly. It's right in that, just at the cusp of medium to medium plus. All right, bring it home for us. How good is this wine? Would you age it?
I think we call mostly like high end of medium, but I will say that because the sort of complexity for a white was, I think there was like some complexity there. I'm going to give this a very good. I think it's a very good wine. I don't feel comfortable giving it merely good because I think it's a pretty interesting wine for a white wine. There's a lot of kind of interesting stuff going on, so I'm going to give it a very good.
Agree. I would call a lot of things balance, but both the both the complexity was the intensity. We're kind of right in the medium to medium plus territory. Length also in the medium plus. So yeah, you could go either way, good to very good. But being generous, and like Charles said, there's a lot of interesting kind of a complexity things here. So I'll give this a very good as well. Would you age this?
No.
Me neither.
Like honestly, I always feel like you can age something for a little while. I feel like for whatever reason, I feel like this wine would fall off. Like I don't really have just my gut tells me that this wine is not going to get any better, and it actually might fall off kind of faster than you'd expect, and you'd be like, damn, I should have just consumed this. You probably have a couple of years, 3 years, but like, why would you age this 3 years?
Right, exactly. I mean, not that this is in general, I'm speaking very generally, but oftentimes the wines that are sold in a 1 liter bottles are usually not meant to be aged for a long time. That's usually a good sign.
It comes in a 5 liter box. Should you age this wine? No. Answer no.
In general, yeah, exactly. Like to me, what's delicious about this wine is all that freshness, all that fresh fruit, flower, and all that stuff. And quite frankly, like we call it that medium to medium, we call it medium plus acid, and we're gonna get to that in a second. Medium plus acid, but we're not quite sure. It could be medium. The acid seems a little quite not really solid. There's a little bit of a tannin from the skin contact. So yes, there's a little bit of phenolic that's been added. But at the end of the day, like we're not talking about hugely intense. We're not talking about huge length. It's all about immediate kind of a freshness and then joy of drinking youthful wine. Do I think it's going to completely fall apart in like next year or two? No. Like Charles said, I think next 2 years, 3 years, I think you can drink this over the next 2 or 3 years just fine. But the point of this wine is to consume it young and fresh, not to age it and then let all these fresh fruit kind of fall off into non-fruit territory. Like that just, I don't think that would make this delicious.
So like the other thing is like it already has the stuff that you would want to see in 5 years. Like because it's a skin contact white, you're like, oh, maybe in 5 years it'll have more, like the fruit will diminish and like some of these other things will come out. It's like it already has that. Like this is because it's a skin contact white, I don't think you would actually gain anything. I feel like it would only get worse every day past today because you have the like savory notes, you have the like slight bit of tannin outweighing some of the fruit. Like everything that you would think would happen in 5 years is already in this wine.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call this a tertiary fruit. Like, it's not dried fruit to me.
Well,
but
no,
yes,
but like the tertiary, like what you would be wanting in a white wine with tertiary would be like adding some non-fresh fruit flavors, and like you already have that. It's like you have it. Good
for sure.
Good luck for us. We have a 1 liter of wine with already like a little bit of black tea, and like okay, well that's not usually like I'd be like, fuck it, we already have it. Just drink it.
Yeah. No, 100%. This is not meant to be, again, this is not meant to be aged. It's meant to be fresh, drunk young. So, again, full set. Fucking pound this. Like, don't worry about this stuff.
My rating of the grid would be low end of very good.
Yeah.
This is a fantastically delicious wine.
Perfect. That's the whole point.
My personal rating is this is really delicious wine. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. I completely agree with all of that, Paul. Good job, everyone.
And by the way, now that I keep drinking it and now I'm out, if somebody told me there was like a very like underripe apricot in there, I would not disagree.
Yeah, I think an apricot is actually an excellent call as well. I do get some apricot.
It's like you could be no douchier than saying it's like apricot, like the stone of the apricot is like the flavor. Yeah. It's kind of almost there, but it's not like a very generous apricot. It's like a
No, I think apricot is actual call, actually. The kiwi and apricot, I think is actual call. So I do have a lab data on this thing, by the way, and the residual sugar on this thing is 1.5 grams per liter. So it's basically full dry. I mean, there's nothing like it.
This is a dry.
Despite it having a lot of that fruit and then a lot of that, apricot, kiwi, fruit, oranges, and citrus, and all of that, there's actually no sugar in this, just to help you kind of calibrate your senses. Now, I'm about to say something real geeky because I was thinking about this earlier today when I was prepping for tonight, which is to go back to exactly what Charles was talking about, which is the acidity of this thing. So Gruner is an interesting thing, a grape, because in general, like my old boss, Wolfgang Puck was talking about, what he loves of Austrian wines, Gruner and Riesling, is that it's got great acidity, which makes it really food friendly. And oftentimes Gruner does, because the best Gruner that comes from Austria comes from much cooler pockets in those 3 Comtal, Kremstal, Braunkow regions, where they have this microclimate of cooler. So you get a lot more of that radish, a lot more of that green, savory kind of a character, a lot of ton of minerality, and with the acid that really shoots up because it's much cooler than the rest. But in general, when you talk about Gruner is naturally a little bit higher in pH than other grapes. So for example, the Gruner usually clocks it right around like 3.6, 3.7, right around there. On the other hand, Sauvignon Blanc and Riesling clocks it around like 3.1, 3.2. So, right, we're not talking about like even a full, scale point in a, acid basic scale, but it doesn't make a difference. And what I'm noticing in my personal journey, and this is where I sound really geeky, is that I'm starting to see that I really enjoy some skin contact on wines that are more basic or grapes that are more basic. Basically, what I mean by that is, higher in a pH scale, not basic as in like all you can drink, bottomless and mimosa basic. So I give you another example. So another grape that has higher pH that oftentimes sees skin contact that I actually prefer with the skin contact without is Gewürztraminer. It also has higher pH, but that phenolic that comes in, this does something to the wine. I don't really know the linkage yet chemically, like why. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like lower the pH scale, more acidic it becomes, which means the wine itself naturally more stable, meaning it can fight off a lot of enzymes, a lot of different things that are happening. It's just a more hostile environment for bad enzymes and bacteria and different things to grow, right? So by combating it with some phenolics, by giving it skin contact and extracting some tannins and polyphenols, antioxidant and all of that properties of the polyphenolics, it makes the wine in general more stable. And to me, I don't know if that's the reason, but I'm starting to see a pattern where I enjoy, even if it's just a few hours. A lot of Gruners do it. I think that's why a lot of producers do put Gruner in even a couple of hours of skin contact. And I haven't verified that with any of the producers yet, but yeah, it's to me, I'm starting to see that there's a kind of a linkage here. Like I'm starting to see a common pattern here that the wines that a lot of Gruners, a lot of Gewürz that resonate with me that I like, they're both high base. They're more basic, higher pH wines, grapes, and they tend to have skin contact. So, anyways, I just wanted to tell you that, and I think that has something to do with what Charles was talking about. Yes, this is acidic, right? Because when we're talking about expression of acidity in the wine, we're not just talking about pH level, because there are different kind of acidity acid that's in the wine. There's a lactic acid, there's acetic acid, right? There's malic acid. So all this total acidity is exactly what expresses a tartness to us, but not just the pH level in the wine. So oftentimes, if you look at the text sheet and lab data on wine, it will say pH level as well as TA, which is total acidity or tetratable acidity, and that's exactly what the difference is. But anyways, so I just wanted to put it out there. But I was thinking about this earlier this afternoon when I was prepping for this, and then I literally had to laugh at myself. I'm like, sometimes I surprise myself with how geeky I can get, sitting here talking about trying to draw a linkage between pH level and skin contact and wine. Anyways, so I had a moment of laughing at myself this afternoon. But yeah,
does not surprise us soon.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, that wine that I sent last week, that Materia Prima.
Yeah.
Where they age it on the Gewürz skins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly it, right? They're taking a lower acidity wine and aging it on those aromatic skins. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I drank that wine again this past weekend. It was still delightful.
Good. So yeah, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. So I'm gonna explore, delve into it a little deeper. But yeah, anyway.
Can we do an orange wine box for Halloween?
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. And also, I also think this one is a perfect entry point into orange. If somebody who's never had orange and then you're trying to introduce people into skin contact, I think this is kind of the wine that is much more approachable than dropping them into a Georgian wine territory. Have them sink.
Yeah, if they're open-minded, you can get them past the haziness. It's amazing. Mine still has not settled, by the way.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. All right, just out of curiosity, how many of you...
Yours is still hazy? Ours is too. Other people settling?
Ours is still hazy.
It shouldn't settle. It's not going to settle.
It's still hazy.
This will, in order for wine sediment to settle, it's going to take days, if not weeks. So, yeah, if it was hazy at the beginning of the, if it was hazy at the beginning of the tasting, it will still be hazy right now. All right, how many of you guys like this one? Just out of curiosity, did anybody not like this one? Did Lisa just go so-so? Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just delicious. I mean, this is just very quaffable, just easy to drink. It's a crowd-pleasing wine. I don't, even if you're not a wine person, this doesn't even come off as a wine to me. This is just a just delicious beverage to me, which is great. Which is perfect for pool parties.
I think your point of entry for orange wine drinkers is that's really good, because I love orange wine, but I have often stumbled because I'll introduce something that's almost akin to a beer, or what I mean? And people are super freaked out and they can't. So this is it's cloudy, but you can get past it type thing.
There you go. There you go. And again, like I said, if you want, if the cloudiness bothers you, just if you buy a couple bottles, just let it stand up for a couple, like a week, 2 weeks, and then it will settle out quite a bit. And then decant off the top portion, or just pour it gently, carefully. Or if you ask me,
that's what I did by accident.
But does it change the flavor of the texture at all? I mean, it's lovely the way it is.
Texture, definitely, most definitely. And that's part of me why I like the sediment. I think that sediment gives it more texture to the wine, as well as the flavor, like more savoriness. But some people just don't like it.
I'm gonna go shake my bottle up because there's a nugget of sediment. So when it came in, I put it in the basement. It's upright. It's been upright the entire time. I put it in the refrigerator. I usually put it in the wine fridge so it goes sideways. It's been upright the entire time. I can see the sediment. I'm going to shake the shit out of it and have one more glass when my dinner finally arrives.
Yeah, definitely. You'll see the difference for sure. For sure.
I'll be like, oh man, look at this. It's tarragon and golden kiwi.
Exactly. All right, let's play everyone's favorite game. How much do you think this wine is on a retail shelf? How much would you be happy paying for this on a retail shelf? Remember, it's 1 liter of wine. It's 33% bigger than the normal bottle of wine. But it is all kind of land wine, entire Austria, nationwide generic wine appellation. But it is a liter. It's meant to be like an everyday drinker. 27, 24, 26. Because it is weird. 25, 28. Well, this one on a retail shelf is $21.75. That's $16 for a 750. It's hell of a deal, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So there you go.
Know what's happening in wine club or whatever. Case club.
Case club.
Here's my question. You've been in my pseudo cellar where I have stuff that I just didn't ever get to. If you buy it, and I think that's an amazing deal, I really love it. How long could you keep it for without it going and
2 years. I think you can drink this just fine overnight. I think this will be just fine over the next 2 years, honestly.
Okay.
I would have no problem. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yep. Yeah. For $21.75, I was like, dude, this is a fucking deal.
For a liter?
So
all right.
I mean, that's a pretty amazing, like the winemaking on this seems pretty like specific. Like they really have a lot of care.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, exactly. Well-made wine. It's not just like a plump. I mean, sure. This month's theme, right? Like if you were not into wine and you just wanted to have a cold, delicious beverage sitting by the pool, like this would be it, right? Like this would be just a delicious beverage.
This would not be it. That's the thing I've learned. Like it would be it for me. Like what it would be for most people would be like, oh, Miller Lite. Like the complexity of this wine.
No, sure. Yeah.
Right. Like that's the thing that you'd fight against. Like the complexity of this wine, people would be like, people don't people don't love having their brain activated. And they'd be like,
but to
damn.
me, this speaks less wine than, say, a bottle of Sancerre, Sauvignon Blanc by the pool.
Sure. Which is
it still Miller Lite? No, of course not. Like I'm not saying that. But
this wine is complex for people who don't know wine.
Yeah.
That's why they sell barefoot Moscato.
Yeah. 100%. But even with like everyday just wine drinker, people just coming in, you come to the pool and you pour them this glass and like drink this. They're like, okay, great. But even for wine people, if you come over and pour this on a hot day on a pool, you'd be like, yeah, it's delicious. But also at the same time, they'd be like, what the fuck is this that you're pouring me? Like, what is this? You know?
Yeah. So I have a bunch of like potential orange wine converts who I'd like to pour this for.
Yeah.
But they're already wine people. So like that'll work.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, I thought that's why it's a fitting for this month theme. But anyways, there you go. Any questions about anything? About the wine or the place?
I have one question. The wine that we're gonna have either next week or the week after, that's like I don't know, it's a rosé maybe. I don't know what it is. Like it's got a very sort of like ruffian like label type of situation.
Oh yeah. Delinquente. Yeah, that's gonna be the last one. Yeah.
Have we had this before?
Yeah, we've had their wine, but not that wine. But we've had their producer before.
And like this seems like deja vu for me. Or like I feel like I've had. Okay.
So Cone Greg, which is the name of that winemaker, a CG, he may be joining us.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, from Adelaide, Australia. He joined us last time.
We were just thinking he came last time, and Delinquente is like sold at natural wine bars and stores like in DC, but even down here in Hollywood, we found it
in Hollywood, Florida.
Yeah, they're starting to get a lot bigger distribution in the States, which is great. But this particular one that we're having here is a very small batch. Kind of like experimental one that he made. So we couldn't get it. Like last time when we had it, this was kind of the batch that I was eyeing, but like we couldn't get it in time, or not enough made it into the States or into DC market to actually feature last time. So we finally take out more this time, so we're able to get our hands on it. So here we are.
Cool. Does this winery make other wines like the more pure play? Like,
say that one more time.
Does this vintner do other like more pure play like Gruners or whatever?
Yeah, so they make.
Appreciated you kind of showing us that terrain, all the terraces,
they do.
flat and all that stuff, and I'm just curious, like, what else they use.
They do. They make a ton of different wines. So imagine all those different plots, all the different varieties, and then they vinify each one of them separately. So they sell them all at the separate bottling. They make a lot of different wines. Yes, absolutely. I'll see what's available come Case Club time, and then I'll put it on there. So if you guys are interested in doing, same grapes, different plots, or same plots, different grapes, however you want to dissect it.
Fun, yeah, that could be a fun link.
Yeah, totally. And I also believe that even though like they're not doing, they're not adding shit ton of additives, it's all like native yeast, but they do filterified. So they make more of like a classic clean kind of a line of wine. And then there's also like a natural wine line where they don't filter, they don't do anything. So you can also do that difference as well. So. Any other questions? Do you get golden kiwi now, Charles? Now that you've shaken it up,
I forgot to shake it before I poured it. So next class.
The next one's gonna be dirty.
It's gonna be gritty.
Dirty.
There was some greatness in the glass, even like basically stood upright for 2 weeks. There was a little bit of grittiness. No, I got my dinner, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but this wine is just delicious. It's like so easy to drink. It just goes down so easy.
Yeah, evidently, yeah. There's two of you, and I'm at the same level.
We're splitting between three. And this is like Liz did not do.
Three of you, and I am done. So
that needs to be on the camera.
pick up the pace.
But yeah,
Dahan,
I'm
by the way.
like, I should have remembered that I was gonna be here on Wednesday and brought it with me because now I'm sad. I don't want.
Oh, you get it when we go there.
OOW.
Get it at Liz's house.
Yeah, Liz is so sad that she forgot to bring the bottle to share with anybody else, and she has to keep it at home and drink it by herself of this orange wine. Oh no, what a bad day.
We'll go to Liz's house and drink it there.
That's exactly the conversation.
Yeah, you'll find that it's already been consumed somehow.
I mean, this is also, I mean, you guys may or may not know this, but Liz texted me yesterday telling me about how she was shaking up that bottle of Cote de Brie from the Boge box in a Yeti bottle because she was on a cruise and she decanter, but she was hoping that the air would do something. And now I beamed with pride and I laughed so hard.
You were so, but I'm like so sad. Cote de Brie is like my favorite of all of the cruise. And I couldn't, and it was disgusting. Like I was like, I'm drinking, and people were like, Liz, should we try some? And I was like, no, you can't have any. You can't have it until I can figure out like what is happening with this wine, because like otherwise you'll never drink wine again. Like I don't know, it just made me really sad. I don't know. I think I got the mousy one.
Why did you
wait? And then
another container?
Did it ever mellow out with the air?
Only in the ocean.
Yeah, only in the ocean.
Oh, it was so bad. So
yeah, that producer is a natty with a capital N. Like that bottle, I think was 00. I'm pretty sure it was 00. So probably some. You got some.
I don't know. I had like an air conditioner problem in my apartment in Clearwater, and I'm like worried that like everything went bad because it was at 80 degrees maybe for a while, and like this wine was so bad. I was like, oh my god, all my wine is gonna be destroyed.
No.
Honestly, like I feel like wine people, like you know how wine people are basically just D-bags who like drinking. Like that's what like. Wine's not that sensitive. If it doesn't see any sun and it doesn't go from 60 to 80 every day, like you'll be fine. Yeah. Like, oh, it went to 80. Okay. Like you think that
or if you stayed at 80 for like months and months, there'd be another story, but like one little spike.
Yeah. Well, like you think like a castle back in the day, like never got too cold or too hot. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, never mind the castle. You think all restaurants in DC keep their wines perfectly, 55 degree,
What's the temperature of the loading dock?
Hell no.
Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
No, what's the temperature of the, what is it, U-line metal rolling cart on the loading dock?
Exactly.
Especially right now. Super hesitant to buy $100 bottle of wine at a restaurant right now because everybody can't keep anything cool.
Is it super hot in DC right now?
Flash floods. Are you guys seeing anything? I'm like super paranoid now. Should you turn off the recording? But also, like after what happened